Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 1, Episode 3, and today, as you can probably see, things are going very wrong. And just to compound the misery, we play against the top two and the two promotion favourites, Torquay United away and then Billericay at home. Since you were last with me, not only have things started going wrong at Hemel Hempstead here, but Gary Johnson, the manager of Torquay United, has also made us look bad for our other save by having a perfect lead record, and there's no way we can compete with that. Even if we do brilliantly in part of the furniture with Torquay, he's going to have a better record than me after the first 7 games, I'm pretty sure of that. But let's go and look at the games since you were last with me, just the few. As you know, things were all looking rosy after our first game of the season against Chippenham in the last episode. Aaron Jarvis scored a brace. The second goal was absolutely brilliant. If you haven't seen it, go back and check out the last episode, because that goal was something special. And I'll check in a minute actually to see if that won goal of the month. Unfortunately, since then, it's all gone wrong. So we lost away at Hampton and Richmond, a game we absolutely dominated, had an absolute string of clear-cut chances. Aaron Jarvis got the goal again, but we lost 2-1 in stoppage time. We then lost away to Dartford, which was pretty expected. They were 2-0 up after 25 minutes, and by then we were just chasing the game. And unfortunately, we couldn't get back into it. We did then win at home to Hungerford, another result that's entirely down to Aaron Jarvis. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have won a game yet this season. We then lost 4-2 at home to Woking. No goal for Jarvis in this game, and we were comfortably beaten, but Woking are a very good side, so I was kind of expecting that. But then away to Welling, we were held to a 0-0 draw. Aaron Jarvis, probably the only game this season where he's had service and been off form. So for that one, we had to settle for a point. Then 2 days later, we had to play an almost completely rotated team at home to Chelmsford, as it was a bank holiday game and no one was fit. And as a result of that, there were a lot of poor performances and a very poor result. Now we go into the games against the top two, knowing that 2 defeats will probably put us in the relegation zone. We're 1% away with the board from going to an insecure job security. We're on 46% stable. One of my co-hosts on the Honest Football podcast also started this sort of save off camera, and he managed to struggle and get himself sacked at Hemel as well. So it's good to know that I'm not the only one. We can also see there's a bit of uncertainty off the pitch as the club's been rumoured to be taken over by a fans trust. That would probably be a good thing long term, but if the fans are fickle like most teams higher up the leagues, I will be gone very quickly with the way we're performing. If we go and have a look at our transfers, there's been one more loan signing since you were last with me. It was a loan signing from our parent club, Watford. Our director of football's brought him in. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. I've seen him on Football Manager before. He's a good right back, 4-star ability and 5-star potential. He'll come into the first team. He'll rotate with Doyley or allow Doyley to move into the middle, as Darren Ward's really been struggling fitness-wise. But to be honest, bar his first game, he's been absolutely shocking. So I'm not quite sure what to do with him long term. You can see down here a couple of his ratings, 5.8 and 5.9. That one was only 6.3 and that's his second best for the club. So I'm not quite sure what to do here. We do seem to be losing the dressing room a bit. If we have a quick look at the dynamics, we've got 2 players who are unhappy they're not in the first team. One that's unhappy because he's been touted to other clubs. He moaned he wasn't in the first team. I said I'd sell him, offered him out to clubs, and then he moaned about that. And Carl Connolly's worried about being replaced because Pritchett came in, but that's because he's significantly better. So I don't know what we expect there. The dressing room atmosphere is atrocious. The match cohesion's nowhere near where it needs to be. But the managerial support's okay despite all these revolts. It probably doesn't help that Laurie Walker's a team leader, which I didn't notice beforehand, so I'll try and get him out as quickly as possible. But we've got 2 big games today. It's our first doubleheader on the channel from either series in FM19, so let's get straight into it. We know we're not going to win these 2 games and we really need to start looking for jobs after that, I think, because this club, it needs a regeneration. It's a bit like when Moyes took over at Manchester United. It's probably the most similar thing I can think of, where he took over a squad where all the back 4 were in their mid-30s and they were just coming to the end of their cycle and there's no one there ready to replace them, or not very good players ready to replace them. And as a result, there's no choice but to try and regenerate the squad entirely, and we really need to be given a year to do it, but I don't think we're going to get the chance. We're almost at full strength today. I think Darren Ward's the only one again who's not fit. He can only play this one game every sort of 10 days because of his injury. It's an ongoing knee problem, so I can see why he is at this level despite his stats. But despite all that, we've managed to get 11 players together. We've got Lucas in goal, a back 4 of Andrew Masonda, Yakubu and Pritchett, Martin and Watt are on the wings in midfield with Prestige and Parks in the middle, and Billy Clifford, despite his poor form, is in behind Aaron Jarvis. We did teeter with going to a flat midfield 5, but I don't want to isolate Jarvis because although Clifford's form's suffering, Jarvis has been excellent up there on his own, and when Walsh has gone into the number 10 role, he has worked a little bit better. Unfortunately, he's not quite fit, so he can't play today. But let's get into it and see if Jarvis can somehow nick us another point. He's been an absolute star signing. He's scoring at nearly a goal a game, and we're still that far down the league. I'm trying to look at Torquay. They're playing a 3-5-2, which those of you who have followed my save yesterday with part of the furniture will know we're nowhere near playing. We're playing a standard 4-4-2. There's a couple of new signings in there that I don't recognise. And they've got the luxury of picking Asa Hall in the middle, who I've got a lovely long injury to. So let's go and give the team talk. It's just about trying to lift them. So we're going to ask them to prove a point. We're not going to go on about seeing better performances and things like that, because that won't help in this situation. It's Torquay with the kick-off, and I really do fear for what's going to happen in this game, the next game, and more importantly for our job long term after this. It was quite funny in episode 1, as I mentioned, there were no jobs in Wales going, so we might skip that lowest reputation step moving up. But if we get sacked from Hemel Hempstead in this league, we won't have many choices other than Wales. And to be honest, I quite like managing there. It's just the fact that you get stuck for a few years due to the reputation being so slow to grow. But I'm quite happy to go there, and it looks like I'll have to be, because it's my only choice at the minute. Lucas claims a cross from Torquay, and he'll clear away. And with 5 minutes gone, we've only faced one shot. Oh no, we haven't faced any shots at all. I'm forgetting who I'm managing now. I shouldn't have played against Torquay. It's a very confusing situation. Two clubs managed in the same league in the same season by the same man in alternate universes. Long clearance by the right back Andrew. Jarvis is in one-on-one. Aaron Jarvis forces a good save from the keeper Bass. We know from our other story that Bass is a very good goalkeeper, but Aaron Jarvis is almost the hero again for us. And if we're going to score a goal, it's only going to be him. Martin gets the ball back out to the right to Prestige, who's offside. And how often does it happen when the ball's back out from a corner? It's Torquay with the corner this time into Brett Williams. And it's cleared away after hitting the bar. Martin clears it long and it's straight to Banton on halfway for Torquay. And with 10 minutes gone, we're starting to live a bit more dangerously now. We're having warnings galore to close people down. Torquay have got the attack again as we come back to the play. They've had a shot from the edge of the box and it's deflected wide. But I think there was an offside in there. Either that or they just gave the goal kick. They've got a throw on the left-hand side now. They're bringing it with a long ball over the top. Keating was chasing it, but Lucas, the keeper's out well to deal with that. And that's where his good communication comes in, despite all his other awful attributes. Long kick upfield finds absolutely no one. Pritchard, left back, though's got the ball to Sanchez Watt. We need a bit of magic from these quick wingers now. We're trying to soak up the pressure as Parks gets it into Watt on the left. Watt crosses to Callum Martin at the back post. There we go, we've got a surprise lead. Torquay with the perfect record so far this season. But we've got a goal, and if we could hang on to this could change our season. Sanchez Watt with a cross from the left. Martin gets the goal coming in from the right, but what a ball it was through from Jordan Parks. Although I'm not a big fan of the backflip celebration, I don't want any injuries as a result of stupid celebrations. Prestige has got the ball as we come forward again to Martin. Back to Prestige on the edge, into Clifford, and that wasn't far wide either. We're starting to turn on the style. We look a bit more like we did in the first game of the season. And maybe these boys can only play when they've got the camera shining on them, because they've been absolutely awful aside from that. Even the game we won against Hungerford, we weren't very good, but Aaron Jarvis got us out of jail. It's Torquay with the long kick upfield from a free kick. Swerves out to the right-hand side to Cooney. Big ball in towards Keating, the striker. Headed away, but Asa Hall gets it back out into Williams. And what a bad header that was, and it still went in. The keeper barely moved, and if we had a good keeper, if we had Bass in goal, we wouldn't be losing half of these games. But unfortunately, we've got to put up with Lucas, as our backups are even worse. And on the stroke of half-time, it's 1-1. It's half-time, 1-1, we're not doing too badly. Dulwich Hamlet are winning 6-1 at home to Hampton and Richmond, so we're not doing too badly in comparison to that. We're going to praise them, they've put in an absolutely excellent effort so far, and we just want them to do that again for another half. You can see that lone right-back again's had another awful game, so I think we're going to be bringing on Lloyd Doyley yet again. I'm trying to regenerate this squad, but the young ones the director of football's bringing in, bar the centre forward Aaron Jarvis, has been absolutely awful. And if we can get some more permanent signings in, it would be great. But we're already over our wage bill because some of these old boys are earning a lot of money, especially for a part-time club. We put a long cross into the box from the left, but it's not as good this time. And Torquay can hold it at the back and bring it away. Des Press gets it out wide to Cooney, up to Keating, he's gone back to Asa Hall, but they're dominating the game now. Dixon on the left-hand side, we know how dangerous he can be. Finds Des Press to Asa Hall again, Banton into the box, a slide challenge which wins the ball back, and we can get it away. But Jarvis is isolated up there, and he's never going to hold that ball up. It's 1-1, but we're not looking good at all now. Good news, just as things were going badly, Aaron Jarvis has now picked up a knock. And we've had a free kick that's gone over, but we've now got to find an alternative to that. We can bring on Philip Roberts, but he can only play as an advanced forward, really. He's not great as a target man. I might just leave him there and see what happens. He's not terrible in the air, so we'll just leave it at that. We'll bring Lloyd Doyley on at right back. We need to close down the winger getting the crosses in because the right back's been poor and Dixon will punish us eventually. So let's get him on. We'll leave Billy Clifford for now. He's not having a great game, but neither are some of the others, so we need to keep our last sub to be wise. The ball's coming into the box from a Torquay corner. Sokolic heads it just over. Again, we know how dangerous he is from our other save, but thankfully on that occasion he's missed. Had another warning there to close someone down, so we'll make sure that's done. And with a quarter of the game to go, I'd be more than happy to get this point, to be honest. And they've got a few players looking apprehensive, so hopefully they'll start to bottle it. Just 10 minutes to go now. We're still holding on. Again, with not many highlights now. Pritchett's dropped into the 5 for his rating, so we're going to take him off. Joe Howser, the versatile man who can cover at left back. He's not great, but he can cover anywhere on the pitch, bar the front two, really. So he's come on, and with 5 minutes to go, we just want to try and see it out. Masonda's getting a warning. He's obviously been doing all the running with Yakubu in the middle with him. And now Lloyd Doyley's on. That doesn't help. Oh, no. We've actually played all right in this game and held them off. But they've nicked a goal with 5 minutes to go. And we're going to have to go attacking now and see what happens. The last time I did this, we let in 2 goals in 3 minutes. But I can't not chase the game. Clifford gets the ball to Parks. He's challenged. Asa Hall's made an awful tackle. Surely that's a foul. The ball's gone long. Yakubu's missed the header. But luckily Wright's put it wide. I'm sure you can see from watching this game, we're all over the place at the back. When we haven't got Darren Ward in there, there's no organisation. And Lloyd Doyley's so slow, so if the ball does go over, we've only got Masonda chasing. And that's why he keeps giving away so many fouls. It's just a knock-on effect all the way across the team. We're so deep and we can't get out of our own half at times. And that's again because we haven't got any pace. So I might change to the worst but quicker defenders soon and just see if we can go for it. I'm not sure if I'll get given the opportunity. Davis is in and it's 3-1. And we don't deserve that, to be honest. There's 6 minutes of stoppage time. So I'm just going to go back to cautious now because I don't want to lose this game by 4 or 5. The confidence is low enough. Lloyd Doyley gets the ball up to Clifford. Clifford finds Prestige with a nice pass. There's no one really making any movement up there. They're all standing still. Howe with a big ball up towards Callum Martin. Into Roberts, but he's offside. I've noticed the flag before he put it in. Roberts isn't quite the same as Jarvis, unfortunately, and if Jarvis has got a knock, we could be in a bit of trouble for the next game. Although Billericay's probably the best game for him to miss because he won't get a touch. Sanchez Watt's got a booking as well. There's a couple for him this season despite being on the left wing. I don't know if it's just because the players at the back are so poor. But with 10 seconds to go, we're going to lose this game. Masonda clears it away to make sure we don't let in a fourth. But that's just about it. And it's been a comfortable win in the end for Torquay despite us holding them off well for 80 minutes. Cooney's got the ball on the right as the whistle still hasn't gone. And I thought that was going to float in, but Lucas manages to hold. The ball will be cleared away and then surely the whistle will go. It hasn't. It's still going on. Sanchez Watt loses out. It falls to Howe. And there at last is the whistle. We've lost 3-1. It wasn't the worst performance in the world. But unfortunately, the confidence just isn't there at the minute. And I feel like we might only be a couple of games from the sack. I've tried to tell them I was pleased, like Steve Jenkins, the assistant, told me to. And they've all switched off, so that'll just make things even worse. But we're obviously going to lose to Billericay. And then if we lose the game after that, I think we're probably gone, to be honest. We're just 2 points off the relegation zone now, and I really wish we had a year or two to regenerate this squad. It's a disappointing collapse, but to be honest, I was happy just to be in the game at 80 minutes. And here's the dreaded one. How long is it? Aaron Jarvis with a knock, just a few days. So we probably will rest him against Billericay, put him on the bench, and then we'll have him back for what will probably be the game that determines whether I've got a job after that. Western Supermare are 6th in the league, so that'll be a tough one off camera. So when we come back for episode 4, don't be surprised if I've not got a job. But as promised, this will be a double header, so we'll be back in a second to heap on the misery even more with a game against Billericay. Right, we're back for this second game against Billericay. They're up in 3rd place at the moment. They're 7 points behind Torquay as they've dropped a few points, but they've got by far the best squad in the league. They're earning £2,500 a week, some of them. It's something no one can compete with. But let's see the lineup we've picked for today. They've obviously got our former manager Dean Brennan, who in real life joined there just a few weeks ago from this club. And he's left us with a right mess. We've got 2 players on international duty, our right back and our right winger who can't play. So we're a bit weaker than normal today as well. And Aaron Jarvis isn't fit enough to play more than 45 minutes, so he's on the bench. We've got Lucas in goal. We've got a back 4 of Pritchett, Yakubu, Masonda and Doyley. We've got Watt and Walsh on the wings with Prestige and Parks in the middle. And Clifford behind Philip Roberts up front. Let's get into it and get it over and done with because we know it's not going to end well. Our director of football, bless him, is trying to bring in a centre midfielder and he looks worse than any of the players we've got at the club already. It's 2-4-4-1-1, so that's interesting if nothing else. But I'm sure they've got the better players for it. And I'm really pessimistic about how this is going to go. Aaron Jarvis has had a moan at me in the week as well because I praised his training performance, which is a new one. His rating was about 9.55. I mean, he trains absolutely exceptionally every time. I praised him and he said he wasn't happy. Roberts hits the bar after 15 odd seconds. I thought we were going to go 1-0 up, but I guess it just gives us longer to hang on. So it'd probably be better if we can keep it a 0-0 for now, because they won't press quite so much. Emmanuel just runs through half the pitch and through 3 or 4 players with no effort. And fortunately for us, he's put it wide, as we've got to throw to Parks. Sanchez Watt on the left, lovely bit of skill there, puts it into Walsh. Walsh has scored, almost a carbon copy of the last game, just with Walsh playing instead of Martin. But Sanchez Watt has been our one shining light on that left wing. Creates chances, has got a little bit of flair, puts crosses in. But unfortunately, I doubt we'll hang on for too long. So I don't want to get too optimistic yet. Normally, I get very overexcited when I go ahead, as those of you who followed my series last year will know. But on this occasion, I know what's coming later on. As Porter turns inside, Alfie Potter, and he's been tipped away by the keeper. But it's straight back to them, and the pressure will be on us again. They've got to throw in at right back. We seem to be getting a lot more highlights from him this time, but Clifford wins the header, and I thought we were going to get a counter there, but they've got a lovely switch on to Jake Howes, and now they're just going to build a nice attack again. There's so many names I recognise from the Football League there, at least 7 or 8 of them. There's no way they can't win this league. If Gary Johnson manages it on this save, or we manage it on part of the furniture, we've pulled off some achievement, or more realistically, Dean Brennan's had a shocker, which, judging by the team he put together at Hemel, despite their playoff finish last year, I'm just not happy with him about it. Even as a former Luton man, I can't forgive him for that. Kennedy with a free kick for them on the edge, and it's gone just wide, but I thought it was going in. But we're managing to hang on for 1-0 at the moment, and what a game changer this result could be. Half an hour on the clock and we're coming forward again with Roberts. Gives the ball away. Oh, that's why we need Jarvis. He's put Emmanuel in one-on-one. And Lucas makes a fantastic save down to his left to tip it wide. The goalkeeper animations this year generally are so much better. It's so much smoother, the gameplay. Yakubu heads away the corner and Sanchez will hoof it as far as he can. And Roberts is coming up at half-time. I know Jarvis has only got 45 minutes in him and it's a risk, but we're 1-0 up and we need to hold the ball up. So getting a good target man on with a bit of technical quality is important. Emmanuel's got the ball on the right. Of course, that'll be irrelevant if we're not actually ahead at half-time. Roberts has got the ball again. He's lost it again. Oh, what's he doing? I just can't wait to take him off. I wish Aaron Jarvis had 60 minutes in him because he'd be on now, but I'm not risking an injury to him that much. With 5 minutes to half-time, we'll just make it work for now. And hopefully we can hold on to the break without losing a goal. That is half-time. It's 1-0. Somehow we're winning. It's our only shot on target of the game, in which Billericay have absolutely dominated. First things first, Roberts off, moaning about not getting first-team football, and then you play like that. Aaron Jarvis is on. We're just going to encourage them here. There's still room for improvement, but let's be honest, if we can nick a 1-0, I don't care how we've played. Let's just close this stats one off a bit. It's just taking up a bit too much of the screen for my liking. We'll make it a little bit smaller. We don't need to see red and yellow cards. They're fairly obvious on the screen anyway. And we don't really need to see up to there, so that's fine. Parks has got the ball to Clifford as we bring it forward again. We're only a few games in, obviously, so I'm still adjusting all my widgets and how we want the screen to look on a long-term basis. You'll notice in part of the furniture yesterday, we missed the first goal of the series as a result of it. But I did show you a replay to make up for it later on. But it was a bit of a bizarre moment, I must say. You don't expect to score that quickly. But with 5 minutes gone in the second half, we're looking okay here. Jordan Parks with the ball into the box, doesn't beat the first man. Falls to Yakubu, who will knock it forward again. Hit it straight at the centre forward, but Masonda's whopped up. And now Yakubu gets it to Pritchard, and there's that route one again. But Kennedy heads away from Walsh. Falls to Lloyd Doyley at the back. Gets Jarvis in one-on-one. Aaron Jarvis puts it wide, and a fully fit Aaron Jarvis scores that, I think. But unfortunately, we're still only 1-0 up. If we could have got a second, I'd have started to have some hope. Sanchez Watt wins it. Parks loses out in the air. Emmanuel to Cool, and now they're bringing it forward easily. But Clifford wins it back from a poor pass. Yakubu long to Jarvis. That's more like the hold-up play. Prestige to Clifford. Clifford to Jarvis. Jarvis shoots, but his own man blocks it. And is cleared away, and now it's Billericay on the counter-attack. Lovely hold-up from Jarvis, though. Long ball in behind, and it comes to nothing. A warning to close down Emmanuel. They've got our quickest centre-half, Masonda, to man-mark him, and hopefully that'll work out. I'm not going to make any subs just yet because the substitutes are significantly weaker in almost all positions, so why risk it? Parks finds Clifford. Jarvis nearly got on the end of it. Wonderful play. Clifford's actually having a decent game today, to be fair to him. Emmanuel brings it forward on the counter to Alfie Potter. On the right-hand side, back to the edge to Bridge. Blocked, but it falls straight to Jake Howes. And his 7th goal of the season from the left. and he's got the acrobatics out as well. And this is starting to take a very similar pattern to the Torquay game. Now they've equalised, they're dominating the game, and how many more chances are they going to get? Doyley goes big and long over the top, but no one's getting there in a million years. They've gone back to the keeper. Oh, he nearly let it in. Oh, I thought we were going to get the most bizarre of own goals there. But fortunately for them, he's cleared it away. The long goal kick-up pitch is headed away by Parks, but unfortunately we are just defending for our lives at the moment. Long ball up headed away by Doyley. Doyley can't cope with Jake Howe's pace. Long ball up from Parks, but Jarvis isn't getting there. He's just put a bit of pressure on and now we're back in our shape. Look how deep we're having to sit. That's a perfect image of it. It was almost like a 4-1-4-1 there, just sitting completely deep. The defender's on the edge of the box, just because we've got people like Yakubu and Doyley in there. Cool's got the ball 30 yards out to Potter. Potter into Bridge. There we go. It wasn't going to be long, was it? And now we're 2-1 down. We've done better than expected in this game, but let's make a couple of subs. Prestige is coming off in the middle. We've got no other centre midfielders, so Clifford will drop back a bit and Corley will come on as the number 10. I think he can play as a shadow striker more predominantly, so we'll get him into that role, just to try and get him behind Aaron Jarvis. Clifford's not very good as a box-to-box midfielder, but he's going to have to be for today. There's no one else really performing terribly, and we haven't really got many options on the bench, so I'm just going to leave it at 2 for now. And then if anyone's particularly tired towards the end, we'll take them off. Or if we get an equaliser, we might even go more defensive. But for now, we're 2-1 down and we're chasing the game again. It's taken exactly the same pattern as the Torquay United game in the first of this doubleheader. And unfortunately, we are going to be on the verge of the sack after this. Bridge finds Emmanuel, shoots, but it's straight at Lucas. And every attack is coming from them now. We've still only had the one shot on target, which we scored from at the start of the game. And just a couple of other chances, one of which fell to an unfit Jarvis. Other than that, we've not really had a sniff. Long kick up pitch by the keeper for Billericay. It's fallen to Eagles. Is that Chris Eagles? He's gone to Jake Howes on the left wing. Finds Jack Bridge, who scored the goal a minute ago. Stevenson out to Alfie Potter. Potter shoots, but the shot's blocked and Clifford will bring it away. But it's not long before Billericay win it back. They're swarming round us as soon as we get the ball. And we've got to throw in a left-back position to try and get away. That's our number 10. Our shadow striker on attack who took the ball on the edge of his own box there. Yakubu hits it up to absolutely no one. Straight up from Billericay to Emmanuel. Finds Jake Howes again. Yakubu hoofs it away, but it's more up than away. But now they're bringing it forward again. It's a relentless, constant attack from Billericay. It's just one long highlight now. We've cleared it to Jarvis, who's held it up well, and Corley can bring it forward to Walsh on the right now. That's what we were missing in the first half. Unfortunately, we've not created anything in this one for Jarvis to use it. It's been brought away by Billericay and now it's Potter again to Bridge. The same men causing trouble again. Howes out to Potter on the edge of the box. Bridge again finds Howes. Howes shoots. What a goal that is. The former Luton man with his 8th for the season from the left wing. And we are 3-1 down and it's game over. And I'm just going to take off Jordan Parks now to try and stop him getting sent off. We'll bring on Joe Howe and drop Clifford into the playmaker role. But let's be honest, we're just seeing out the game now. It's a goal kick for us with Lucas. Lucas clears it not very far. His kicking's poor. It barely reaches halfway most of the time. Watt finds Corley. Corley got 2 men in. He's got Jarvis on the right. He's gone to Corley again. Corley shoots it straight at the keeper. He probably should have gone wide to Luke Walsh, but it's still 3-1. We're coming up just a couple minutes left. We've finally got a warning to close down Howes and Bridge, who have caused so much chaos in this game and scored the goals between them. Stevenson with a shot for them again, but luckily it's straight at Lucas. We've still had 2 shots on target in the whole match. Jarvis's rating's 5.8 and that's so harsh. He's created quite a few bits of play for us. It's just that they've not been used after. Doyley's really struggling on the right. We've got no one who can play there sensibly at all. And we've now got a goal kick or a free kick in our own box to clear away. But the whistle's gone. It's 2 3-1 defeats in this episode. We took the lead in both games, and considering the opposition we're playing, it wasn't particularly bad. But we're possibly 1 game from the sack now. Western Supermare are up in 5th place, and we have got to really beat them. We've dropped into the relegation zone. In terms of our board expectations, we're still on 45% remarkably, but that won't last long. And there's a bit of an interesting statement in the match review. VAR was employed for the first time. I don't think it was, guys. A bit of a strange message there, but let's be fair, we were soundly beaten. There wasn't much for us to sing about, and I can't honestly say we'll be at this club at the next episode because I've got a fair feeling we might get sacked. As a result, it's pointless us looking at the schedule because let's be honest, it's probably going to be irrelevant if we continue with this form. What a hard club it is to manage. And for those of you who followed my FM18 head coach series, you'll know that this is probably the worst spell we've had in either of the saves so far. It's been an absolutely awful start and we've not got the players we need to try and play any sort of tactic that we're used to. So we'll try and plod along and hope our director of football gives us some young talent to work with soon. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on there. Let me know in the comments whether you think I'll get sacked before the next episode in 2 days' time. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager content from this series, The Head Coach, and our other story, Part of the Furniture with Torquay United, which will be back as normal tomorrow. A massive thanks for watching as always, and we'll see you next time.